Thanks for joining us here at The Research Her, the show working to improve the health disparities for women of color, one topic at a time. And I am Alicia. I'm here learning and growing with you as we research our way to wellness. We are here to discuss, based on the title, you might be able to tell, we're here to talk about spring cleaning, okay? And if you grew up anything like I did, each spring you would be doing some type of refreshing, rejuvenating, reorganizing in the house. So when I was growing up, we would do a little bit of cleaning. What it really involved was a rotation. So in the winter, in the winter and the summer, or the winter and the spring, we would be like rotating out our summer clothes or our winter clothes. So in the spring, we're rotating out those those winter clothes and putting in those summer clothes. Now, let me be clear. This was before the Marie Kondos of the world coming in and telling us that we need to get our lives together and we shouldn't have enough clothes to have them in rotation. Okay, girl. No, I really did enjoy that book, though. I read it in July of last year, and actually that was what led to my 7th year deactivation of Instagram. Pause. Not 7 years, 7-month deactivation of Instagram, but obviously it felt like 7 years. The book is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, but I really enjoyed that book. So our focus today is going to be on focus-ish, because I get to talking about stuff that may not quite fit into these 3 categories, but our focus-ish today is going to be on what you're actually using to wipe down when you're cleaning, and are the chemicals that you're using okay for your body? And third is the psychology of organization and how your environment affects your mindset. So point number 1, what are you using to wipe down the counters? Well, if you usually use a sponge, I suggest in the future, based on some studies, that you switch over to a towel. So what studies are saying is that sponges actually help with keeping bacteria. Sponges easily hold on to bacteria. And so if they're holding on to the bacteria, it's easier to spread bacteria throughout your home. They're just really hard to clean just because of they're so dense. Like, compare it to a towel. A towel's nice and thin. You wipe down, keep it pushing, boom, boom. But with the sponge, you can't quite get into the crevices, deep into the sponge, and get some of those bacteria out. Even with using those antibacterial soaps that are designed by nature, antibacteria, to kill some of those microbes inside of the sponge, they cannot get in there. So the studies are saying that you aren't really reducing bacteria in your sponges with using these antibiotic soaps. So hand washing your sponge will not help. There are a few ways of reducing the bacteria within the sponge. If that's your thing, we're not gonna knock you if you just really love using sponges. So one thing that you want to keep in mind is, if you want to use sponges, is to, 1, make sure you're keeping it nice and dry. So once you're done using it, you put it out of reach of water, because if you're not using it and it's just soaked in water when it's not in use, it's actually like growing more bacteria over the time, and then when you finally go to use it, it's just not the best means of cleaning, because essentially, yes, you're getting rid of the macro food stain, but it's these little mini bacteria that, like E. coli, you can get sick off of that. And if you're allowing your sponge to just sit in that E. coli, you're essentially risking getting sick, even though you feel like you did clean your dishes very well. Scientists in the paper that I read suggest trying to use the disposable sponges whenever possible versus using the reusable sponges. So ones that you use once, toss them, just because they're that hard. to clean. There are a few ways of freeing the nasty from your sponges. So one way is to throw it in the laundry with bleach and detergent, just using bleach or using no detergent at all, no bleach or no detergent. You have to use both essentially. Just bleach is not as effective as using both the bleach and the detergent. You can also throw it in the microwave, maybe for a few minutes when it's wet, kill out some of that bacteria. Boil it for about 5 minutes is a good way. And throw it in a dishwasher with detergent and a heat cycle. Using the heat cycle is more effective than without the heat cycle. You could also soak it in alcohol or vinegar. And also kind of problematic, which we'll talk about next, is using bleach or ammonia. So when you're using the bleach, you want to do a 1-to-2 dilution. So 1 part bleach, 2 part water, when you're soaking your sponge in the bleach. So overall, when using a sponge, we rather use a towel, but when using a sponge, try to purchase the disposable ones or clean it. But this brings me to my next point of how research is showing that these cleaning supplies are not good for the insides, okay? They may be good for the inside of your home, getting rid of those bacteria, but why they getting rid of the bacteria, they're getting rid of you, okay? So I know for me, I love the smell of bleach in my apartment. I don't know, naturally for me, it correlates to being like clean. And I believe that means that it's like spick and span. Like my house is unfuckwittable at that point, you know? And the bleach for me, bleach is an all-purpose cleaner. So it gets rid of about 99% of bacteria that exists on all surfaces. And which is questionable too. I recently read an article in CNN, and CNN, not CNN, but CNN, which is like, I think chemistry and engineering, chemical engineer, something like that. And it discussed that something about like cleaner spaces do have less bacteria. So if you're using bleach a lot and you're cleaning a lot, there are a lot less bacteria present, but those bacteria that there ain't going nowhere, okay? They are resistant and they ain't for none of that a little bleach, baby, bye. Gone, baby, bye. It's like a little roach bacteria, and you can't get rid of them no matter how hard you try, yeah. I read a study about roaches, but we'll talk about that on another day. Anyways, bleach is helpful for just doing all of that, okay? Getting rid of germs. However, it's also getting rid of you. So what we know is that there are countless studies that show that exposure to cleaning products contribute to allergic reactions, respiratory issues, which mean like breathing, your lungs, all of that. That's your respiratory system. So how you getting the oxygen into your system to feed your brain, feed your body, all of that. Just make sure you can get around easy. It also causes other body responses and health issues, including cancer. Now, I know it sounds extreme, but it's true. And I'm going to tell you why why it is this extreme. Now, the chemicals are especially harmful for those people who already have respiratory issues, i.e. asthma, rhinitis, bronchitis, all of those respiratory issues. If you are someone with those, there is no doubt in my mind, based on my search through literature, that you should definitely take a lot more care when cleaning your home with these chemicals than your average person. Why? Because you already are sensitive to little things in the environment. So a study that was really interesting to me, because I have my sister-in-law, she works with in this field, and it found that women who work in the cleaning industry and work around a lot of chemicals report having higher breathing issues than women who don't work in these fields. And also another study that found that women using bleach at home were more likely to have non-allergic asthma than women who don't use bleach at home. And like the difference between, I guess, non-allergic asthma and allergic asthma is people who have non-allergic asthma, they just have asthma. And there are some people who have an allergic reaction which triggers their asthma. Now, let's talk about the chemicals to avoid. So all aerosol sprays, including health and beauty products. Your favorite Febreze and all these, like, for instance, people who, I like to use the SPF, what is it called? The sunscreen, that's aerosol. That may not be the best as far as my respiratory system is concerned, but just all aerosol products, air fresheners, our Febrezes, and but the reality of air fresheners, if you think about it, I really start thinking like, man, what would I do? It only is temporary, so I don't really think it matters. Chlorine bleach, detergent, dishwashing liquid, dry cleaning chemicals, and I'm about to overwhelm you. I know, because that's what I start thinking. Oven cleaners, furniture and floor polishes, rugs, and a word that I'm not going to try to pronounce on here, but essentially different things in your home cleaners, okay? I believe there are some things that there is no getting around it. If you want your floor polished, you got to use floor polish. You can't just put a little vinegar and think your floor is going to shine. Like, no. But if you must use these chemicals, be sure to wear a face mask when in use. I think that's the best way to avoid too much direct exposure. Now, let's talk about why these chemicals are bad for us. Well, when we use things like ammonia and bleach, the chemicals are actually volatile. So what that means is they turn from a liquid. So you know how if you set your water out in the hot, it evaporates. That's essentially what kind of goes on with these chemicals, except they don't need to be heated up. They are a lot easily turned from a liquid to a gas, and it happens rapidly. And when we're cleaning, we're all over it. We're spraying it all around, and now you're breathing it into you're breathing in those gas molecules into your lungs and the insides, and it just shakes some shit up. It just does a lot inside of your body. And the exact mechanism is not known yet based on what I read. Like, they're still trying to figure out the exact mechanism of why these are so harmful for us. We just know it's disrupting things for now. And obviously there are some studies going on with animals. They're not doing this on human. Imagine if they tried to do this with people. Brain cells be all type of dead. Forget being half THC. You be half BL leech. That was so... I wonder. So, no, for real, like, it would be immoral to do this on human. If you're wondering what to use instead, here are a few options. So, white vinegar, liquid Castile soap, natural salt, baking soda, washing soda, hydrogen peroxide, or lemons. Those are all microbe killing, natural, or more like delicate options. And there are a lot of chemicals or companies that produce different products that are a lot better for us, but I want to warn you about some of these companies. By law, they are not required to include all the ingredients that are in their product on the ingredients list. So try to do a little bit of research about the product before you purchase it, because you really don't know what some of these companies are putting in their stuff. For instance, I want to emphasize, and I'll probably emphasize on future episodes, that there are many products, whether that be hair products, makeup, all type of stuff that says fragrance. And I know cleaning things have fragrance in them a lot, and you should avoid fragrance, because what is a fragrance? Like, what is fragrance? It doesn't stand for anything. It's just whatever you want to sneak into your product you call it fragrance. That's essentially what studies have found, where they analyzed different household products and cosmetics and found that there are a bunch of unlabeled chemicals that are toxic and hazardous. And I know, like, okay, you're very overwhelmed. Okay, like, oh my God, everything is bad for us and we can't do anything, can't even clean our houses. But I want to emphasize that these chemicals been bad for us. Okay, so this isn't just one of those situations where we found out that corn was a genetically modified organism, so now we can't eat corn. No, this is something where we have known for years that these chemicals are bad for us, but because the way our laws are set up, people don't have to tell us that they're using these toxins in their products, and then we're going and we're spraying them not knowing that it actually has things that's been bad for us in them. Okay, so these companies are hiding behind these laws and they get to sneak this stuff into our home. Now I know that this is far left. This is just my opinion all the way over here, but this is why I make this podcast, to discuss why Black women are having so many health issues. Now we know Black women are dying at higher rates than the rest of the population from these diseases. We're getting these diseases at a higher rate. So I think that it would be better for us as a community to just care a little more and take more more caution when we are living, versus just saying like, oh, whatever happened, like, I'm tired of not being able. No, let's take a little bit more initiative upon ourselves and saying we need to take that next step and keeping ourselves from being exposed to these different things and watching the way that we live. Now, historically, Black women have been the maids and the slaves of this country. So we have been the ones cleaning other people's houses, exposing ourselves to the chemicals on the daily basis. Okay, so you go to work, you clean up someone else's home, then you go home and you clean up your home, and now your kids got like on a daily basis. And this is historical. We've been the ones cleaning up homes and exposing ourselves to this. Now, do the people who make the products know that they was putting that in there? No. Oh, no. You know what? I'm not going there. Not gonna go there. But what I will say is I've been many a places. Okay, I've been many a homes, many a countries. Okay, and there ain't nobody that chemicalizes their home like a Black home. Okay, like for instance, here in China, they don't even use cleaning products. Not that often. Like even at the lab, the lady who very nice lady, we don't even know what each other be talking about. We just be sitting there looking at each other talking. She be talking Chinese, I be talking English, and we just pretend like we know what's going on. She just entertain me, I entertain her, okay? But yeah, so when she's cleaning up, right, she's literally just using water. Right? Just using water. And I'm not making this up. Sometimes there might be a little hand soap at the sink. So I make sure I get my hand soap from our lab. But the chemicals are very rare when you cleaning up in the Chinese buildings and things like this. But you ain't been to a Black home that don't got bleach, pine sol, ammonia, the cleaner for the floor, the cleaner for the window, the cleaner for the mirror, the cleaner for the stove, the cleaner for the... They don't got all that here. So I ain't never, that's something to be aware of. So we want to start making these changes for our health. You want to make these changes for your health. Get rid of this thought like, oh my God, like not this too. This is something that's very easy. Think about it like this. What's easier? To change your diet or to change your cleaning products? Okay, start there. So changing your cleaning products is so easy, and it's doing the same thing. We formed these mental habits of we gotta do this, we gotta do that, when vinegar works just as well. Why do you have to use bleach? Why do you have to? Just because you grew up on it don't mean it's not too late to change the way that you clean in your homes, especially if you know that there are products that are better for you and still as effective. Just change it. It's an easy thing to change, and we the ones dying, not nobody else. So, I mean, who else gonna tell us if it ain't us? So, I mean, I feel like I'm rambling, so I'll move on to the next topic, which is something I saw that was really cool. is I found this really, really cool study that showed that if you did a little vaporization of lemon essential oils, you can eliminate the little stuff that live in the air, little airborne bacteria and microbes and stuff. Let me slow down. I just got excited because this is a really cool study. If you were within the first 2 hours of vaporizing this lemon essential oils, the concentration of the bacteria and the fungi that are in the environment decreased by about 40 to 60%. Ain't that crazy? Or 30, actually it's 30 to 60%. Isn't that crazy that you're able to, within 2 hours of allowing the vaporization of an essential oil, to get rid of 60% of some bacteria that's in the air? I think that that's so bomb. Like, amazing. Something else cool that I saw was a research topic done by our good sis, Dr. Nicole Keith, who is a professor at Indiana University. And her study found that there is a correlation for Black women. Okay, our good sis studied Black women who have a tidier home and fitter body. So she studied about 1,000 women in St. Louis. What's up, St. Louis? I ain't been to St. Louis before, but I still want to say that. The people are about age 49 to 65, and they checked out the cleanliness of their homes. What was found was that Black women with cleaner homes were healthier than Black women with messier homes. And what the cause was, that wasn't the purpose of the study. It was just literally serendipity, like they were doing the study, and that was the correlation that they found, and they were so shocked. And now finally, the psychology or the thought process related to how organized your home is. And we are on the final part of some things to consider while doing our spring cleaning. And that is this study that found that clutter makes it difficult to focus on a particular task. So there was a study done by researchers at Princeton that found that people had a harder time focusing on the task at hand when there were things in their peripheral, right? So they're trying to focus on the screen, but when they put objects in the peripheral, the thing in the peripheral was essentially stealing the attention from their task. So if you're looking at one thing, but something is out the corner of your eye, you're constantly looking at that. So that was interesting. So essentially the idea is clutter makes it so that you can't focus. So maybe thinking about the fact that if you had a cleaner home, you'd be able to focus on what your task at hands is. So like, for instance, right now, great example, I'm looking at a pair of pants on the floor, okay? So rather than focusing on the screen, thinking about it now, I'm like, I keep on looking over at this pair of pants. I recently got this new like sofa cover, right? And I don't want to get my outside dirt on my new sofa cover. So I slipped my pants off and just threw them on the floor, and I hopped on the couch. So you know what? I'm distracted. That's why I'm off task today. That's why I'm all over the place, right? Because my mind is clustered. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, so that's it. That's it for today, actually. So I gotta go. I gotta get these pants off the floor. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Just give me 2 more seconds of your time and go give it a quick rating. And if you can give me a whole 1 minute, please give a quick review. If you want to reach me, I am at The Research Her on the socials. You can also go to theresearchher.com, shoot some reviews and ratings, and until next time.